Hello, all the viewers who are there right now listening to me. Just give a thumbs up or mention in the comment section if you are able to listen to me clearly. Audio is clear, video is clear. Just give me a thumbs up in the comment section below. So, I am streaming this tournament from chess.com. This is being organized by CSCA from Kolkata, and they have kept this online Blitz Championship 2020. And you can I have already sent out a participants list. There are two grandmasters and around 6 to 7 IMs participating in this tournament. So it is going to be a very good tournament. We have 2700 rating GM. One of the GMs is from Chile. He is participating in this tournament. Then we have IMs around 6 to 7 IMs, and all these players are top players in India as well as from abroad. So I am very much sure that this is going to be a very exciting tournament and you are going to learn a lot. I will be there with you all this time. We are also going to be joined by Mihir Shah and Aryan Boyd from the organizing team. So just give me a minute, guys. I am patching them in.
आपने YouTube
Okay, guys.
स्टार्ट हो रहे हैं कर वाले दो
I have Aryan Boyd and Mihir
हीर
with us right now. So Mihir and Aryan, hi. How are you?
Hello,
Yeah, we are good. How are you?
I'm good as well. I am online right now. We have started the broadcast and I have shared the link with you all. Just make sure that the link is forwarded to all the people in your group so that they all can enjoy this live streaming right at their homes.
Yeah, sure. Can we go to the link right now?
Yes, I have opened the link. It's there on my screen right now and it
Yeah,
should
can you
be
just share the screen? We cannot see it now.
yeah, it's there on the YouTube. It will start in about 10-15 seconds now.
Acha, we won't see it from here.
Mihir and Aryan, people can hear you right now. You're live, so you can see the screen, and I am going to share the screen as well with you so that you can just a minute, guys.
Yeah. Yeah, we can see Diptan Ghosh is the top seed, Grandmaster from Bengal.
Yeah,
We have Kaustav Chatterjee, Arjun Kalyan, Neela Shah.
yes. So let me just go through the list, guys. So this is the list. Number one is Wizard, GM Wizard. I think Mihir, this is some
He is
Mihir.
Diptan Ghosh. He is
I think it's
Diptan Ghosh.
Diptan Ghosh. Okay. So Wizard is guys Diptan Ghosh, and as the name suggests, he is truly the wizard of chess. Right ID for Diptan Ghosh, one of the top grandmasters from India. Then we have Arjun Kalyan with 2676. He is an IM, right? Middle and
Yes,
Aryan, Aran.
I,
Mihir.
yeah.
Yeah. So we have Kaustav and then we have Nilesh Shah,
He
Srijit
is the latest IM of India, Neela Shah.
Nilesh Shah. That is a very good information. Thanks, Arhan. We have Srijit Paul. We have
He is also an IM.
okay. So probably the title is missing from the name, so I was not able to pronounce correctly. No problem. So we have Rajdhani Express, Rajdeep S. Would you like to go through the list, Arhan? I'll just scroll it for
Yeah,
you.
we can go through the list. He is Sahil De, candidate master. I like Kasparov.
Okay.
Everyone likes Kasparov.
Right, yes. What's the next one, guys?
What's up?
What's
Arhan.
up?
I'm not sure about him. He's another. He's another player from He's another player from Assam. Mayank.
Okay, Mayank. So top 10. So this is a very good list, guys. So all the viewers out there, we have top 10 players playing in this tournament having official FIDE titles. That's right, Arhan, right? I'm on the right
Yeah.
track. Yeah, so this is going to be an exciting tournament, guys. I can see a lot of comments in the comment section. There is one comment from Aryaman Sen. Probably Arhan, he's your friend.
Yeah,
He
he's a really good friend.
Yes.
okay, so he wants Anubhav to get on the stream. And we have okay, there are Mrinal Shah is also commenting from in the comment section. So he is asking where is Diptan? He was my classmate. उसका गेम दिखाओ जरा. So he wants to see Diptan's game. So
We will
let's
see. We all will see Diptan's game in about 30 seconds.
yes, that's right. So there were a lot of queries, Arhan, that just like before the tournament is starting, there were a lot of queries
Yeah, yeah.
coming up to me that,
So go ahead.
uh, yeah, so the queries were like, can we participate in this tournament? There were a lot of queries from other my viewers and my subscribers and in the WhatsApp group. So we will
Mm-hmm.
give them some information to them that if they want to participate in these tournaments in the future, how they can participate.
Yeah, sure. They can just contact me. I'll just share my number in your YouTube channel,
Mm-hmm.
and then they can very well contact me, and we will be organizing tournaments
Mm-hmm.
every week. So, and I want to promote chess throughout India along with Mihir and some of my partners. Yeah.
Okay, so games are on, guys. Let's go back and check what's happening. This is the first game. Game is between the Wizard and Vivek 780. So let's quickly check what
Japan.
happened in the opening. Yeah, Depant and Ghosh. So D4, Knight F6, C4, E6. This is a Nimzo Indian setup. That's what. And Nimzo Indian with D5. This might get transposed into,
It's a kind of Catalan, like G3.
yeah, yes, Catalan G3. And Knight D2. Have you seen these moves, guys, before? Knight D2 and FD2.
Yeah, in fact, you should be like you'll be really thrilled to know the viewers that Diptan's favorite line is Knight D2. He has played in a couple of Blitz tournaments also.
Oh, that's excellent. So this is something new that we can learn today. Knight D2 lines, guys. All those guys who like to play Catalan structure, do check out Depantan's games, Grandmaster Depantan Ghost games. Knight D2 is something that you can learn today from the Grandmaster himself. Knight takes, Bishop goes back, and Rook E1 followed by Knight B6. So what do you think about this Bishop, guys? The Bishop on C8. So question to Mihir and
Yes.
Arhan.
The
What?
bishop is. I feel the bishop. Why black has to do a lot of work to activate his pieces, especially the bishop on c8.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you look at the white's pieces, it's actually very centrally activated, and whereas black's pieces are not.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Right.
what are your inputs?
Yeah, that's right. So I was
I
thinking
think
from point,
E5 has been played, so bishop will can now move.
yeah, e5 is now played. So this is one of the ways that bishop can be activated, but this e5 break has to be critical. You have to take care that you don't end up in a difficult situation after the pawn is
Yeah.
pushed to d5.
Knight has been pinned.
Yeah, f6 knight is now pinned.
And ED5, I don't think so is a good option right now.
E takes
Is
d4.
knight is knight D7 possible? Knight BD7.
ED4, I'm sorry. ED4 will be a very like ED4. I won't favor this move. Yeah,
I think
and
this
we
this
see
is
Dan
this
winning.
is yeah, I think it's a completely winning position now for white. Yep. Just let us go back a couple of moves and check what happened
That's why I
actually.
just told you
Yeah.
ED4. I won't
Yeah.
support.
So this was the position wherein white played bishop g5, and after bishop g5, e takes d4 was played. Okay, well, the Panthan has won this game. Let's
That's
quickly go
the game.
back to that position wherein we have this position, right, guys? So this is what you were
Yeah.
saying, that ed4 is not
Yeah.
a good move here for black, and that's what black
Knight
played. And
D7, a decent move.
yeah, knight d7 could have been played, I think. Yeah, knight d7 could have been played. Yeah, this could have been a better move, but this ed4 I think is completely losing now because of all the
Yeah, and so can you just go back to CD4 like a move before that? Yeah, yeah. Now, yeah. Right now, do you think Black could have like avoided D4 and just simply played B6?
no, but the e5 is critical here, right? E5 is coming, and there
Not
is a
right now. After yeah, D right now.
mm-hmm. Soft.
D4, knight E4, knight E4.
Okay, the bishop is hanging on
Yeah, so
d6.
I'll play knight E4.
Okay, knight e4, knight e4, knight
Yeah,
f6, probably, or not
yeah,
knight f6.
then bishop G4, bishop G5, then bishop
Bishop
E7. I
E7.
think Black is good to go.
Yeah, this should be manageable for black. Yeah, you can see the analysis on the left hand side, guys. It's absolutely 0 points, so this is equal. Yeah, this is the way black should have played ideally, but black went for an adventure with ed4 later in the game and paid the price. Okay, so let's go back, guys, and check some other
The
games.
other
Yep. Okay, so here we have another game between
Kostav Chatterjee. He is another aggressive attacking international master from Kolkata. In fact, I've known Kostav from years and he loves to play attacking chess.
okay, that's good to hear.
Is
Let's quickly
A4
check
possible?
what
Yeah, A4 is being played.
happened in the opening first. Okay, so
Yeah.
d4, knight f6, c4, e6, knight c3, bishop b4. This is a Nimzo Indian opening, guys. So all the viewers out there who want to learn something, who want to play defenses from black against d4, this is one of the options for you, the Nimzo Indian defense. E3, castles,
So
bishop
yeah,
d2.
bishop D2 is also a line, right? Before E3.
Yeah, bishop d2 is also a line that probably, yeah, bishop d2 can be played. Yes. Yep. Bishop g5 is there. That is called as, I think, Leningrad variation. Instead of e3, you can put the bishop on g5. You have queen b3 as a Spillman variation. That is also a very well known variation. You also have an f3 line, which I think was recently played in one of the candidate games. So that's what viewers can explore, the f3 line against this setup. It's again a very good line just to make sure that you are competing for the center, playing f3 and e4. Black, of course, tries to play d5 and try to attack your center pawns, but that is a part of the game and line that you have to study. So going back to the game, let's see what happened. So e3 was played, castles, bishop d2, d5, knight f3, c6, bishop d3, and d7, rookie castles, d takes c4, bishop takes c4, b5. This is the general tempo that black gains after the d takes c4 is played, and
The
then
position
ace.
is kind of equal right now.
Yes,
Very
the
much
position.
so.
Yes, and somewhere in the game c5 break, c5 or e5 break is what black looks to do in this setup. So knight e2, bishop goes back to d6, and now this bishop sit nicely on the d6 and try to attack the king side. Bishop c3, knight goes to e4, knight g3, challenging the knight on e4 right away. Knight takes c3, b takes c3. This is an interesting choice. So,
Rook,
so just a
rook,
question.
rook takes E3 was possible.
Yeah, just a question, guys. How would you like to capture this knight with a pawn? Okay, so the game is already over, but let's go back to that position and just try to do some work over there. Just a minute. Give me a minute, guys. I'm just trying to bring the position. Yeah, so knight e4, knight g3, and knight takes c3. This is the position wherein we were discussing that how this knight should be captured.
Yeah,
Should
I
you?
think bishop C3 could have been played like I won't say it's not like obviously bishop C3 is an I first of all would not have played knight C3 in the first place. I would
Mhm,
not want to exchange my knight so early.
mhm. So you would have put your knight on f6 first and then continued with knight e4 later on if
Yeah,
required.
maybe. Yeah, knight f6 looks an exciting move, or maybe I could have tried with knight g3. Let's just look at the what the engine says.
Knight, sorry, come again, please.
So I think I could have went with either knight f6 or knight g3.
Okay. So knight f3 is again better for black. You have minus 23 or minus 31. This is better for black.
Exactly.
Okay. So yeah, and let's see knight g3. What's the complaint with knight g3? I think
Well,
that's also manageable and playable. But
yeah,
after
because
h takes
H
g3,
takes
I feel that the bishop will take some time to get this bishop into the attacking mode because of this pawn structure. Okay, but that's okay.
Maybe bishop. Maybe I can push c5 right now after fg3 or hg3.
Yeah, c5 is playable, but I think that will help this bishop to open up quickly.
we can try
So
A5 also. Instead of C5, we can try A5.
e5,
e5.
No, A5,
I
A5.
think
a5. Okay,
a5
a5 is
playable, but then like you're just giving initiative for white to open up. Maybe he can go with a4 or maybe bishop c2.
mhm, right, right.
Plenty of moves are there: a3, a4, bishop d2, bishop c2, bishop d2. No, maybe bishop c2.
Mhm. Right,
So
bishop c2.
what would you suggest?
I
What would you
I
suggest
think the
here?
idea of white to play B into C3 was probably wanted the C4 break.
Yeah. So a5 also looks good, but c5 is something which we have seen over the years in most of the games actually, even with the grandmasters playing this break a lot of times. So this a5 is not bad at all, but I think I would like to go with c5 more. c5 is more of a putting pressure on the central square after knight c5. Of course, this bishop is there on c3 who is attacking this diagonal, beautiful diagonal from a1 to h8. Knight probably now can go to f6, come to e4 again, get this e4 square. That is what the general theme behind the Nimzo or Nimzo Indian defense, or the general theme between of the Queen's Gambit declined is as well. So knight f6 and take the control of the e4 square. Try to play positional as much as possible, and just then try to put c5, rook c8, c5 later in the game. So rook c8 is also good now, probably rook c8, and then bishop goes to b8, b8, and then queen goes to c7. So this kind
That's
of
a great.
setup can be very good for black. This rook can come to d8 then. Okay, so this setup I would like to play more from black side. Okay, so let's quickly check what happened in the game, guys. So knight f6, and then we have okay, the game is now. I have made some moves in between, so let us go back. And so second round, guys. We have to check the second round. Has the second round begun yet?
No. Let's just see the games on progress.
Mm-hmm.
Rahul 303.
Yeah. So this is the game in progress. Okay.
We'll just have a look
Yeah, I
quickly.
think this is the last game of the first round.
Interesting rook pawn endgame.
Yes.
And come king play G3, yes. King G3. King H2 probably. I think black should be winning this.
Yeah, this is completely winning for black now.
So, but then could you just go a few moves early, like 10 moves early, maybe? Yeah. From e5, let's continue. Here, could white drawn? Could have white, like, maybe.
Okay, just a minute, guys. Yeah, this position. Okay, so let's looking at the commentary, guys. This comment section, guys. Harsh Sonchatra is requesting Mrinal on the commentary. I think
Yeah, Harsh is another friend of Mihir.
okay, that's nice. So people are demanding mineral to be on the mineral and yeah, mineral want they want mineral on the commentary. Okay, so guys, all the viewers, mineral is not currently available. He might join us for the next tournament as of now, but for this tournament we have Arhan and Mihir with us. Okay, so yes, yes, Arhan, you were saying that if I can white and draw this game, that was
Yeah.
the question. Yeah, I think it's very difficult right now because these two pawns are connected. Okay, and there is a general rule in rook and pawn ending that once the two pawns reach the sixth rank, it is difficult for the rook to survive. For example, if these two pawns reach on the third rank, okay, for sixth rank
Hmm?
from black, okay, so then it is difficult for survive for any opponent. And this pawn, actually, this can be captured by the rook. So these two pawns, just black has to make sure that these are supported and they remain connected as till you get a queen. And while this pawn can be defended by the rook meanwhile. So let's quickly check how black actually concluded this game. Okay, so he played g2 here, okay, which was then replied by rook g1, and then h3 was played to support the pawn. King g3, king g3 was expected to attack these both of these pawns, but then rook a3 saved the day. H3 was saved, king h2, and now king goes to g6. Now just black has to capture this pawn and bring the king back. So rook e1
Yes,
was
now it's a simple win for black.
yeah, rook e1, king f7, e6, king e7, king g1. So is was there any other move here other than king g1? A rook move probably. A rook move. Rook cannot
Rook could
leave.
have gone E4 or somewhere.
Yeah, no, actually rook cannot leave the first rank because of rook a1, and then this queen is unstoppable. Okay, so rook, if rook goes to, for example, to e4, then rook a1 and this queen is unstoppable then.
Then can Rook come to G4 then? No.
Rook can come to g4, but then pushing the pawn is not compulsory. King can just capture this pawn. Okay, so if
So
rook g4, just capture the
first
pawn
rank.
and bring your king nearer to these pawns then. King cannot capture h3 because then rook will just, the pawn will push. If king h3, then pawn push and get a queen. Okay, so then he played king g1, that was forced almost. Then rook f3. Rook
I think Rook
f3.
F3 was a very great move. Rook stop King to going from H2.
Right, right. Followed by rook f1. If king h2 now,
Yeah.
king h2, then rook f1 is winning completely.
That one is completely winning.
Yes, okay. So hence black white did not move his king. He moved king rook to, I think he moved rook to d1. Okay, and then king takes e6, a simple pawn exchange, simple capturing of the pawn. Check, rook d1, king f4, rook d4, king to g3, and that's the game over for. Oh,
H2 check.
this is
F2 check.
also this is also a nice trap, guys. This is a stalemate position actually. I mean,
Exactly.
in time pressure, if someone captures this rook without thinking much, then this is going to be a stalemate.
Nice try out of your friend.
Right, right. So it's a very good position. Just something to learn for everyone, all the viewers out there, that this is something that you can try in time pressure. Most of the times, you will find that players capture this rook and gift you a stalemate, half point or the half of the points for free. So just do try this whenever you are playing under time pressure. Okay, let's go back to the tournament and check the. Have we got the pairings for second round yet?
Yeah, in
Yes,
fact,
yes.
the games,
Can
some
it
of the
not?
games have finished.
Yeah, I think we have got the second round for this tournament. Which games would you like to go around with, Arhan?
Let's just try check a game between Neela Shah and Medha Atal.
Okay, okay. So can you just give us brief about the players, Arhan, while we are looking
Yeah,
at the game?
Neela Shah is an international master from Kolkata. He's a very talented player. He got his international master norm in Spain
Oh, that's great.
last year. Spain. Yeah,
Was it
in two.
recently, Arhan?
No, that was like yeah. I mean, Nilash went to Spain in 2019, but like he along with Srijit Paul got his international master title like last year only. Yeah.
Okay, that's nice. So
Interesting.
guys, this is so all the viewers out there. This is the D4 E5, the famous England gambit, wherein white black gambles right in the opening and tries to go for some aggressive setup. But let's see how the IM Neela has handled this position. So knight c6, knight f3, queen e7, g3. Interesting way to play this variation, and white gave away the pawn on e4. That is a good way to continue in this gambit. So bishop g2, knight takes f3, bishop takes f3, c6, trying to put the pawn on d5 and establish a very good center from black side. c4, avoiding the d5 pawn push. This is called as a prophylactic move. Prophylaxis is something that you understand what your opponent is trying to do, and then you take your measures and stop your opponent's plan. Knight f6, knight c3, g6, castles, bishop g7, bishop f4. Now you can see at the position, guys, because of this c4 move, d5 was not possible for black, and because of that reason this bishop is still stuck in on its original square. If you compare
So
white's pieces,
black has to play b6 maybe.
b6 is okay, but what are you going to be if you play b6 and bishop b7, then this d7 pawn is going to be a backward pawn which will be a target for white.
Probably black can give some support on the d5 square and try to play d5. Queen
Yeah,
e6,
that's what.
e6 probably.
Yeah, but he'll be then lacking in the development a lot. He will have to prepare a lot and then play d5 move. So let's see what happened in the further game. He played bishop f4 and then queen d8 back. So probably then bishop d6. That's queen d8 actually is a surprising move. Just you're gifting away all the critical squares to this bishop on d6.
Definitely, bishop d6 actually spoils all the black development. Black cannot castle right now. Maybe black can play bishop f8, but that also will spoil his, I mean, plan to develop anytime soon.
Right, right. So later on, what happened in the game? Let's quickly check. How did Black respond? Bishop f8. He will of course try to exchange the bishop off, but White is smart over here. White is an IM. He won't give away that bishop. He's just putting that on e5 and pinning that knight again.
Wasn't
Knight.
d6 a decent move instead of bishop g7?
Yeah. Let's go back. So
d6
d6.
would have been played.
D6. Yes, I think d6 could have been played. Mm, yeah, I think d6 was a decent move. D6 was a decent
After
move. Yes.
bishop, if you placed bishop d4, then you could have played bishop g7.
Yeah, right. So bishop d4 you mean. So d6, bishop d4 and bishop g7.
Bishop,
Right. But knight e4 is coming anyhow. After bishop knight
right.
e4, this knight is pinned on this diagonal. This diagonal, this knight is pinned. So knight is going to come on e4 actually and try to put this.
After knight d4, black can castle. So, at least
Right,
position becomes a bit better.
right, right. Yeah. Okay, so let's see what happened in the game, guys. So bishop goes back to g7, knight e4, castles as expected. Then queen d4, putting the pressure on knight, that is on f6. Knight goes back to g8, bishop takes g7, knight takes g7, and now I think knight f6 check is a very good place that knight to sit. That knight will be happy for rest of his life. And the game is over, but let's quickly check what happened in the game. So knight f6 was played there. Knight e8, bishop takes g7, knight takes g7, knight f6 check, king goes to h8, rook goes to d1, queen b6, trying to exchange off the queens. Whenever you're under attack, try to exchange off the queens, try to exchange off the attacking pieces and live a
Even
peaceful life.
queen
That
h4 is possible, right?
Yeah, queen h4 is possible. That's what I think was played probably. Queen c3 and then d6, rook takes d6, bishop e6, rook d1. So this is a lot far better position at what actually the black has, and I really love this position of this queen. Actually, the queen is really cutting off this diagonal. And sometime in the game there must have been some tactic with this queen on this diagonal. Let us just quickly check the game. Rook d8, h4, rook takes, rook d8, and c5. Just trying to put some pressure on the queen. Queen c7, h5. And the idea now is to put the pawn on h6, dislodge this knight from g7, and use this discovered check and attack on the king. Pawn takes is compulsory, h6 cannot be allowed. Knight takes, and now this knight is pinned. There is a mating threat on g7. Rook g8 is forced. Rook to d4. This is a beautiful idea. Rook will now come to d4 and probably go to the h4 or
H4.
somewhere, yeah, somewhere on the king side to continue the attack. Then we have queen d4, knight g7, rook queen g7. Okay, interesting. And pawn to b4. Okay, bishop takes e2, queen d3, and this leaves actually with a same colored bishop ending. Okay, of course, black's king is a bit exposed, and white's king is a lot better as compared to black's king. But how did this actually got converted into an win will be an interesting way to see. So rook h4 putting the pressure on the h7 pawn now, rook from h4 and a queen from d3. Excellent grouping of the pieces. Rook e8, just trying to activate his rook. This file is completely closed, so there is no use keeping the rook in g file. It is better on e8 or d8 or some other open files. So rook e8 was probably possible now. That's what black went for. Then we have bishop e4, again trying to put more pressure on the h7 pawn. This is how the
Bishop
attack.
E4 is a really interesting move.
Right. This is how the pressure
But
has to be built.
what if black responds by F5? Anything?
f5, I think that f5 can be captured for free.
Yeah, but then or maybe H6.
H6, I think it will again help white to put some pressure on h6, probably by playing
Queen E.
queen d2 or something. Queen e3 again will allow black to play bishop f5 and
Queen
attack
D2.
the
Yeah, Queen D2. Queen
queen
D2.
d2 is better. Yeah. So there are questions from the viewers who are commentating right now. So all the viewers who are listening out there, we have Arhan and Mihir from CSCA, who they are the part of the organizing team of this tournament, and we are happy to have them with us today, commentating and expressing their views on the tournament and the games that we are watching now. So that's the answer for all the viewers who are wondering who are the new commentators with us today. So yes, so bishop e4 is interesting, guys, and then let's check what happened in the game. H6, that's what coming, right? I think Mihir was suggesting h6, or yeah. So queen e3, king g8, queen f4, king f8, king g2, rook d8, bishop f3, bishop d5. So actually this went into an interesting late middle game. This is not completely, yeah, now I think it's completely winning for white for because of rook h6. Yeah, h6 is now hanging. Bishop f3, gf, ef3, rook goes to d5, and then queen b8 check. I think that should be the game almost for white. Queen takes b7, rook goes between, queen takes c6, and now all the pawns that were the key factors in black's position are off the board.
They have gone. Yeah.
This, yeah, the c pawn on c5 is an interesting pawn. It is the probably the pawn which helped white to win this game. Let's check ahead what happened. So queen d4 and rook comes back to h4. So what one more thing that I like in this position is the pawn on f3. Okay, this allows white queens to travel wherever she wishes to. She doesn't have to be on this h1 and this diagonal h1 and h8 diagonal to defend the checks. Okay, so there is a possibility that if this pawn is not there on f3, this queen might come to e4 somewhere and give a check, then rook can come to d1 and threat a mate on h1. So this pawn on f3 is doing a wonderful job of defending that check, and right now this queen is completely free to attack and develop some tactics on the board. Okay, so queen to d2, then rook e4 check, king goes to f8, queen f6. Now there is a mate threat on h8. Queen h8 is a check and mate. So how did black defend? Queen to
Black
d3.
didn't defend.
Yeah, he didn't defend and it was a check and mate. So that was a game for you guys. Let's go back and check few games again. Round 3 has begun. So round 3, which game would you like to pick up, guys? Mihir
We can
and
go with
Arhan.
Srijit Paul and Alex Roy.
Okay, Srijit Paul and Alex Roy. Yes, let's pick up this game. So
I'll
meanwhile,
just
yeah,
brief
can you?
information about the players. Alex Roy is Shubhabrata Roy from West Bengal, a 1700 FIDE rated, and Srijit Paul is I am Srijit Paul, International Master Srijit Paul from Bengal again, from Kolkata.
Okay, okay, that's nice. That's nice. So it's good to have a background of the players before you start actually looking at the game. This gives some kind of build up to all
C5.
the viewers out there. Okay, so e4 c5, knight f3,
I'll
knight.
again just intervene a little bit.
Yeah.
C5 is Shubhabrata Roy's favorite line. He always goes with Sicilian as
Oh,
black.
that's nice. Yeah. All the Sicilian lovers out there who like to play Sicilian, Shubroto Roy is your IM that you should be following to learn Sicilian defense and to master like just like Shubroto Roy. So let's see what happened in the game. E4, C5, D4, C takes D4, knight takes D4, G6. So this is an
Dragon.
accelerated dragon. This is accelerated dragon without D6. So in
Yeah.
dragon in main lines you see D6 being played, which is the main line of
D6.
dragon.
Yeah.
Yeah, but in G6, this is a different, completely different topic in Dragon that you can adopt, you can learn. This is accelerated Dragon, and this generally is played to avoid all the annoying lines of the Yugoslav attack, the F3 and G4 and H4 attack that Black generally faces in the main lines of Dragon. So this playing this G6 line that is accelerated Dragon helps you somewhat in avoiding that aggressive lines. Okay, so G6, after G6 we have C4. So C4 guys, any comments from you, Arhan? C4 and Mihir, if you're
So
watching.
yeah, I'll just
Normally
like to
knight
comment that
f3 is expected.
C4 is a very interesting line, and I think black can play. Black could have played E5 maybe, and then tried for an English type of setup.
Hmm.
I was
Right.
expecting
So
knight
this
c3, but c4
this
is
is
interesting.
yeah, C4 is called as Maroczy bind. Just to add something to your points, Arhan. So Maroczy
Yeah.
bind is a structure wherein you try to stop all the breaks from black side. So A6 B5 it's stopped, E6 D5 is stopped. So black white just tries to build up a fortress, which is not easy to break here. And in that scenario, this knight has to travel to d7, then to c5, and then try to attack on the e4 squares and put some pressure on d3, b3, a4 squares. So that is the general pattern we see from black side against this Maroczy bind pawn structure e4 and c4. Okay, let's see what
Yes,
happened in
because
the game.
E5 right now is not possible as knight B5 is a deadly move.
Yes, right. So knight takes d4, queen takes d4, bishop g7, bishop e3, castles, queen d2, again trying to get rid of this dragon
King.
bishop.
The bishop, yeah, by bishop H6.
Bishop e6, castles, queen a5, a6,
Would you
f3.
recommend queen A5 right now?
No, actually, queen a5 is playable, but that gives here, yes, queen a5 can be played, but if king is on b1, queen a5 is not welcome. I'll explain you the reason, because here if queen a5 is played, knight d5 cannot be played because of queen takes queen check. But if in king b1 position, now knight d5 is possible because of knight d5, queen takes queen, knight takes e7 check first, king goes to h8, and then you can capture the queen back on
You gain
d2.
a pawn.
Yeah, you don't get a pawn actually because then the e4 pawn is hanging, but it gives you a simple way for white to simplify the position and try to go into an ending as early as possible. If you were trying to win from black side, queen a5 after king b1 should be avoided if you want to win from black side. For drawing purpose, it's okay. Yeah. Okay. So let's check what happened in the game. A6, f3, rook fc8, knight d5. This is what I was telling you about, guys. All the viewers out there, this is a very good move. When the king is on b1, queen is on d2, this queen is indirectly attacking this queen on a5. Then there is a knight d5 tempo out there. Now from knight d5, it can go to e7, it can go to b6, it can capture the knight on f6. It has lot of scope from this d5, and meanwhile black cannot do anything because the queen is hanging on a5. He has to first take care of his queen. Okay, and probably this is the move knight d5 which would help white to black to win now actually. So queen d2, rook d2, Bishop d5, e cd5. Okay, the exchange is possible here. So knight goes to d7. This is the plan which I told you. Knight d7, then from knight d7 can go to e5 and c5 or e5 and try to attack on these
So
squares. This
F F4 possible to stop knight.
f4, that's okay. I'll go to c5 then. The knight
Okay.
will go to c5. Rook c8 and c5 will continuation if in case of f4. So it is going to be a minor piece ending, guys. So interesting because both are having the same pawns on both the sides. So these two bishops are very well lined up on the queen side. So if white manages to create some weakness.
But white is definitely better because white has a pair of double bishop, and then
Mhm.
it is actually gaining control of the game, sir.
Yes, that's right. But this knight can become active after coming to e5 if we get some outpost, very good outpost now h5 and knight h5, knight g4, or somewhere. If black this knight gets an outpost, white is better now, that's no doubt. But if black gets an outpost, that knight can create some havoc in the center actually. E6 is a weakness now, which white is trying to attack. Knight f8. Now knight is completely dead actually. He's gone into a defensive mode. b5, pawn takes, and bishop back. Knight comes back into the game, and now e5 is a square that this knight to go like would like to go on and put some pressure. Bishop goes to e7, knight goes to e5, attacking the critical squares of d3, f3, bishop e2. Now this bishop, look at the bishops now. Few moves back they were in the attacking position, but now these two are disoriented. This bishop is trying to create some play over here, and this bishop is in busy in the
Now the
defense.
position actually looks equal, pretty much equal.
Yes, yes. So knight to d7, f4, bishop d8. Go looking for exchange. Avoiding the exchange, bishop on d8, d5.
But but sir,
Think,
would you have exchanged had it you would have been in his place?
it's interesting. Let me just quickly have a check here. f5 break is available for white, but that passer which is there on f5 will not be easy to handle. So what I'm thinking is after this exchange, I
The
will
king
be
can't move because
I
the bishop is hanging the b5 pawn.
yeah, this b5 pawn is going to be a permanent weakness. Yeah, so exchange might have been possible, but exchange also gives an equal chances for black to fight out the draw. Okay, but keeping the bishop on the board, that's what probably white thought here, Srijit Paul, and try to put more pressure with those bishops on the board rather than without the bishops. Now there is a threat of f5 actually, f5 or h5. This two pawns will be weak because of this light squared bishop. So bishop g7, g5 first. Okay, interesting because I think white is just trying to take away all the good squares from this knight. This knight cannot go to c5, cannot go to e5. All these critical squares are now gone. It can probably go to b6, and from b6 it can try to jump onto the c4.
Is he planning f5 probably next move?
Yes, I think that's what h5 was played. The h7
Okay.
is hanging.
H7 is hanging like.
Yeah, bishop h7, and now these two pawns will probably help white to win quickly. Knight check. Knight is coming into the game now. And both players are under immense time pressure, guys. You have to keep that in mind. f7, bishop g7, and now bishop e7,
Knight f2
d3.
can be played.
Knight f2, I think can
Then
be played.
probably h6 can be done next head.
Yeah, bishop
H
f5, I think can could have been played there. Okay, so white won actually the game. Let's go back and check what happened in the end game.
Quickly,
Yeah, so this was a position wherein h5 was played. G takes h5, bishop takes h7, h4, bishop f5, knight to c4, bishop to h3, knight d2 check. So this is where king c2. Okay, knight goes to d4, e4, f5, d4, f6, bishop h8, f7, bishop to g7, and bishop e7 trying to queen now. But the d3 check is there. The idea is that if king takes d3, then we have a knight f2, beautiful
knight.
fork to
Yeah.
capture this bishop. That is the idea behind this d3 sacrifice, and white accepted it. Okay, King d3, and then knight takes pawn, knight takes this bishop, and bishop to
Bishop
f6.
F.
Interesting, because white is trying to push this pawns now very quick, g6 and g7. So knight takes g5, bishop takes g5, h3, king goes to f2, king d5, and again bishop e7. Now this, I think this pawn is unstoppable, and white will be piece up very soon. Yes, and this is what helped white to win. Black
Yeah,
resigned here.
and then exactly.
A beautiful example of how tactics can be used in the end game with your minor pieces. So this move, actually the bishop f6 move, is what I like
Wonderful
most.
game, actually. A wonderful game. Beautiful display of endgame by Srijit.
Right, yeah, that's correct. So bishop f6, I think I really like, and that entices, actually that puts actually a big question mark in black's mind, that what, how should I continue, and especially under time pressure when you have to perform well, these moves shake your confidence a bit. So very good moves from white side, Srijit Paul. Let's go back to the tournament and check.
Yeah, and let's. Oh, round 4 has started.
Okay, round four has started. Which one would you like to pick up now, Arhan?
We can just see the first game
Okay,
between Sahil Day and the time.
okay. So just give us a brief of. We already know Sayantan
Uh,
Ghosh. Can you just?
Sahil Day is a candidate master from Assam, but he has shifted to Kolkata. He is a 2300 plus, and Diptan Ghosh, we all know about him. He is a like chess prodigy from Kolkata. He has represented India in various international tournaments,
Mm-hmm.
and he has even played Magnus Carlsen in the online in the online chess. Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. Yep. So good to know about the players. Let's now quickly check what happened in the game. So e4, e5. Okay, e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, knight c3. Knight c3
Two
is a
night, four night,
four
four
knights,
night.
822. So this is first called as three knights, wherein black can play bishop c5. It is
Night.
called as three knights. And but four knights is something very interesting. d4 is gives you very good tactics in the opening. If e takes d4 happens in the game, then there are a lot of tactics which can come from white side. Bishop b4 is the right way to continue. d5.
Can you just explain some of the tactics to the viewers?
Yeah. So for bishop b4, if bishop b4 is not played, if e takes d4 is played here, I think that's the game is live. It's not explain. It's not allowing me to make the moves, but I'll just try to explain with the arrows. If e takes d4, then knight d5 is possible. Okay, and knight d5 is offering a second pawn on e4. So after knight takes e4, queen e2, and putting the pressure in the e file is what white does best. Okay, so just explaining you again if you are confused with the arrows. So I'm just explaining, guys, all the viewers out there, what happens if e takes d4 is played by black. You can play knight d5 in this position, putting the pressure on the f6, e7, f6, e7, and c7 squares. So if black gets tempted to capture this e4 pawn, you can just put your queen on e2. Okay, and then there are threats of knight g5. Knight g5 is again attack, putting the pressure on this e4 pinned knight, the knight which is already pinned after queen e2. Okay, so there are a lot of tactics here, and there are also ways to defend those tactics. There are some sacrifices like knight b4 and knight c2, allowing queen takes c2. Then the pawn which is there on d3, d4 can be pushed to d3, sacrificed, and trying to gain some space and some advantage from black side. So those are the tactics which are possible in the four knights. So if you're playing four knights, you have to be prepared very much. You cannot even miss a single tactic in that case. So d5 here is interesting move from black, guys. This is something that I have not seen before, and it gives a different dimension to the game, purely attacking. e4. Okay, there is a fork on f3 and e4, f3 and d3. Now this pawn is attacking both the pieces. So queen e2, again pinning that pawn. Queen takes d5, and black is back in the game. Black is attacking multiple squares now. d4 is under attack with the move like knight takes d4, and this knight is still pinned. Okay, bishop d2 can be played, but I think black is in command, complete command right now. Queen is well placed. This bishop can be developed to g4 square. Look at this bishop right now, which it's just praying that it gets some space to show its skills, but it's right now trapped on f1. So black is completely dominating. Let's see what happened in the game after queen d5. a3, bishop takes c3, b takes c3, and this is another target for black. Actually, this is a weakness on in the white's position which can be targeted later on. So castles was played by black, then followed by knight d2, rook e8. Rook is coming into the action now. Knight b3, queen goes to d6, bishop b2, and then a5. a5, a4 is again trying to just dislodge this knight from its good square of c5. This knight has to come to c5 somewhere, but c5 again will be kicked away by b6, and probably then this knight would not get much of the space to breathe. So let's check what happened in the game. So a4 was played by white himself. Now bishop e3 is available. Black should be aware of that. There should not be any tactics of rook e7 or any other move which will allow bishop e3 and just to get control back. So bishop g4, queen goes to c4, attacking the f7 pawn. A lone queen won't be able to attack, do something here, but I think there would be
E3
something on the c5.
E3 possible now. Okay, E3 was played, I guess.
Yeah, in the game E3 was played. That is the correct move to play, and that gives it. Oh, just a minute, guys. I clicked some link in the game. Okay, so yeah, e3 is possible. That was played in the game itself just to expose your opponent's king. So all the viewers out there, all the beginners who are listening, make sure if your king is stuck in the center, try to expose your opponent's. Sorry, if your opponent's king is stuck in the center, try to expose that opponent king by such moves, by exchanging the pawns, by getting the open files. It will help you to win quickly. So let's just check what happened in the game. So white, of course, tried to avoid the exchange. He played f3. Bishop went back to e6, gaining a tempo by attacking the queen on c4. Queen c5 is what white would be targeting because he wants to get most of the pieces off the board to get a better position and to fight at least for a draw here. So queen goes to f4, bishop e2, rook d8, g3. White is pushing the pawns, but he's also creating some holes on this h3, g2. These are holes. Somewhere black is going to come and occupy those squares and disturb this king altogether. But there is one point as well that this long castles probably is available for white now. All the pieces are either on the center or on the king side, so this long castles probably is available for white. Let's check what happened in the game. c4 was played. Bishop h3. Yes, the hole is occupied by that bishop. d5, trying to put some pressure in the center on the knight on c6. Knight goes to b4. From b4, it is again controlling the critical squares of a2, this c2 and d3. Then long castles. As I said before, the long castles option is still open for white. Knight goes to a6, attacking the queen. Queen comes. Oh, queen has captured the pawn on a5. What would you have played, Arhan and Mihir over here? Would you have captured the pawn or you would have taken the queen back
Actually,
to d4?
uh,
No, I would have actually captured the pawn.
no,
I
I would have
agree with
captured the pawn because
uh,
the queen gets
that.
space to come back to e1 if some attack crops up to the queen side.
Okay, okay. So you mean that after capturing the a5, it can just come back
Right.
to anywhere in this diagonal and
Right.
helps in the defense?
So there's no possibility of a queen trap. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yes, yes, that's good. So if you're getting a pawn, just grab it. Queen a5, bishop g2, rook e1, queen takes h2, and black has now decided to annihilate the white on the king side. Bishop takes f6, g takes f6, exposing now black's king, but there are no pieces to attack. Okay, so the game is over, guys, but
So,
let's.
so white won.
White
Diptan has
won.
lost.
Diptan, the first loss for a grandmaster in this tournament. It is an exciting game, guys. Let's quickly check what happened in the game. This is exciting,
Correct.
guys.
You
How
have to be.
how the grandmaster lost the game. Okay, so queen h2, bishop f6, exposing white's king over there by capturing the knight on f6. Pawn takes, and you can
Yes,
see the evaluation here. It is showing
definitely.
completely.
White is much better. Much
Yes.
better.
Okay. So queen c3 coming back and trying to attack the hanging pawn on f6 now, followed by queen h6 defending the pawn on f6. Rook goes to d4. Excellent move. So all the beginners and intermediate players who are listening right now, this move is called as rook lift. You have to lift your rook the same way you travel at your homes in a building using the lift. You are lifting the rook from first floor to the fourth floor and putting him on the excellent g file, which is there to for you to attack right
But
now.
I would have gone with Rook G1.
Rook g1. Okay, what is the reason for that, Arhan?
Basically, my idea is Rook G1, Bishop H6, and Bishop F1.
After rook g1, can bishop just capture the f3 pawn?
Uh,
Then there's a check. If we
There is a
capture by
check.
check coming,
Yeah,
there's a
e2
check
e2
coming.
check is there. Yeah, this one. Right,
Oh yeah.
right. So this tactics probably.
Maybe F. Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, sorry, my bad.
Yeah, so e2 has to be there. I think the bishop on e2 has to be there. So
Or
that's
maybe,
all.
yeah, yeah. Let's agree with Sahil and let's
Hmm.
move forward.
Yeah. So rook d4, rook left, guys. All those who are beginners and intermediate players trying to understand emerald game concepts, this is one of the good concepts of rook lefts. Rook e5, rook h4, attacking the h7 pawn, the queen, and the pawn on h7. Black replied with rook. Oh, is he giving away the queen here with this move? That's what happened?
Wow.
Yeah, this is how I think
I think
probably.
Queen G5 made the difference. Queen could have gone back to F8 also.
Right, queen g5 I think is the difference that led to a
Even Rook
loss.
H5 was possible. You can get the rook in between the queen.
Yeah, rook interpose, but then f6 was hanging. Okay, for example, rook h5, rook takes h5, queen takes h5, and then queen can capture the pawn on f6. And that
Queen
might,
F8 was probably
yeah, queen f8 could have been a possibility. So if queen f8, then let's try playing this. Let's not check after rook g4 what happened. Queen
then we
f8
can
is,
play Haran's move rook to G1 and probably trap the bishop.
yes, this bishop is now gone. Right, the perfect move. Yes, the bishop is now gone because there is no more threat of this check, discover check from h6. Okay, so that's nice. And I think I'm getting a pop-up from chess.com. I'm not sure. Yes, I'm still there. Let me click. Okay. So queen f8 was probably the one which might have survived, but this bishop on g2 is then gone. So probably then bishop takes f3, bishop takes f3. Let us just try playing this moves. Bishop takes f3 and e2.
Probably when Queen H A3 check is possible, but it doesn't make any no attack is coming.
I think it will make a difference actually. Queen a3 check is actually a very good move because of knight b4 is available there on. Okay, so for example, if we are not capturing this pawn, or
No,
let
the
us cap.
queen can come back to B2. Right? The queen can come to B2 after Queen A3 check.
Right, right. But then e2 will be forced because king will be one file away from this queening pawn. E2 will be with pressure. Okay, but if the king is on c1, king can come to d2 and just defend this queening square on e1. Once you drive the king away, then e2 becomes a critical push. Let's just check
So,
what
but
happens.
right now Queen A3 will not be that much effective. I mean, White can easily defend.
Yes, yes. But queen a3, queen b2, and I think I can capture the pawn again. That
Yeah,
would,
but you can see the
So
evaluation
what
engine.
yeah, yeah.
what we can do is like if anyways white is up, white can give away the bishop for the E2 pawn. Still white should be better.
Definitely.
Like after the
Hmm.
bishop
And
F3,
sir, you
bishop
can
F3,
see the king. Sir, the black king is exposed. We
Right.
just need white just needs a couple of moves, like maybe 3, 4 moves to actually, give a deadly attack, deadly mate attack to black.
I feel after bishop F3, if black plays E2, white can just capture bishop into E2 and give away the piece.
Hmm. Hmm. Right. So that could be a
Yeah,
possibility.
because if rook e2, queen f6 can be an option.
Yeah. Right. Correct. So
Okay,
even,
let's just
yeah. So yeah, I think there were possibilities from both the sides actually. Black could have tried queen f8 and just tried to, instead of queen g5, queen
Queen G5
f8
was
is,
uh,
yeah,
you know white completely. It was a like complete uh,
miss.
gifted white the win.
Yeah, yeah. So queen f8 could have been tried, and of course it was better than queen g5 in first place. So yes, yeah, queen f8 was a good suggestion. I think Mihir suggested it, right, Mihir, or Aran
Yeah,
suggested it.
I said Queen F8 and Rook
no.
H5.
I
Any of the
suggested that Mihir suggested the before move.
Okay, okay. Okay, let's go back, guys, and check the next round. Five has begun now. So which ones would you like to pick up?
We can just go a little bit down,
Yeah,
and we can just check the game between Costa. We can just check the game between
Kaustav and Amlan. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, let's check. So can you give a background of these two players, Aran?
Yeah, sure. Kaustav Chatterjee, as we all know, he's an international master. from Calcutta. He's a currently class 10 student studying in the Garden High School, and he's a very like he is a very good player, and he has even got a GM norm. So
Oh,
yeah,
that's great. At such a young age and fighting out against the grandmasters and proving your talent is really appreciable. So, round of applause for this Kaustav
Kaustav
Chatterjee.
Chatterjee has
Yeah,
also represented India in the World Under 16 Olympiad along with Aryan Chopra.
that's great. Yeah. So, Aryan Chopra is playing today.
No, Aryan Chopra is not playing sadly.
Okay, so Kaustav is playing. He's an IM guys. He's just 16 years old, if I'm not wrong, right? Aran,
Yeah,
16 or 17
he's
probably.
approx 16. Yeah,
Yeah, so
16.
that's a great achievement at this age. I really appreciate the efforts by Gustav. So let's check what happened in the. What about Amlan? Are you aware of Amlan?
No,
Aran?
actually, I'm not that
Okay,
much aware of
no
Amlan.
problem. So d4, d6, knight f3, knight d7, g3. Again, a Catalan-like structure that we are going into. e5, castles, bishop e7, c4, castles, knight c3, pawn c6, e4. So this is like uh, I don't know. This is probably like a Philidor defense with c4 with and having a fianchetto as well at the white side. So e4 e5 is what I am imagining that happened as a first move, and then black played d6 and played a Philidor defense and ended up in this position. Okay, but it can come from other different positions as well. So if you look here, there's a variation name given that old Indian defense, Ukrainian, two knights variation, a nice name, Ukrainian. I have not seen any defenses or any openings named after Ukrainians till now, but this is the first name that I'm coming after, so something good to see. So, but the thing is that how do you think, guys? What should be the black's plan in this position in this opening from here? Should he play on the king side or on the queen side?
Right now, so when you look at the position, I feel white has a slight edge because of naturally it spawns the way it has developed the pieces, and definitely white has a slight edge, but definitely black can defend. Black can try. Black obviously has some initiative. Maybe b5 at not right now at the
Mm-hmm.
later stages.
Mm-hmm.
What are your inputs, sir?
Right. So looking at a position, yes, the answer is yes. But I think this bishop will go to now f8 and g7 and just try to make a fianchetto like structure here.
Can white try something like king h1 and then f4?
Yes, yes. So that's what, or
Yeah,
probably,
definitely.
yeah.
That's what I said. Black, white is better.
Yeah. So this is like going into a king's Indian defense, okay, by playing g6 and bishop g7. So black has transposed this into a king's Indian defense, but he has made sure that white does not get an attack on the queen side. That's what happens generally in the queen's gambit when the black plays king's Indian defense. White tries to push his pawns a4, b4, c4, c5, and try to attack on the queen side. But in this case, black has very well managed to just lock out the queen side in the first place, and there is no break available for white on queen side. So white has to play move like f4 sometime in this game, and then expect to get some fireworks in the center and on the king side. But meanwhile, I think black can also just play knight h5 and f4 like f5 like move, just like the theme in the king's Indian. Okay, so let's check what happened in the game. f4 was played. Yes, bishop a6. Yeah, c4 pawn is now bit of a question. So b3, just guarding it, and now rook d8, f5. So just to mention you guys why bishop a6 is important here. Imagine this position without minor pieces on the board, without minor pieces, major pieces on the board, just kings on the board. It makes sure that white in the king and pawn endings, white will have an extra tempo of b3. In case he loses the opposition, he can gain that opposition using this extra tempo. Okay, but bishop a6 has made sure that this extra tempo is not left with white. Okay, he is playing b3 move now, and this tempo will not be useful for white in the end game. Okay, so this is a long term thinking from a grandmaster's point of view, just to finish off all the tempos that your opponent has, so that your opponent won't get an advantage in the king and pawn endgame. Okay, so b3, rook d8, f5, h6, queen d2. Again, attacking the h6 pawn over here. King h7 should be there. Yeah, king h7, g4. So white is just trying to push all the pawns on his king side. g5 is inviting the sacrifice on g5. What did white play here? Bishop f3. He's preparing for the sacrifice. There is no need to hurry. You can just put
Is
your
he
rooks
planning
on.
h4 by protecting the g4? Is he planning to play h4 or something?
Right. I think that's the plan. Also, the rooks should come somewhere in these two files, on h files, h and g files. So h4, yes, as you said, h4 is played. f6, rook e2. Now rook will switch on to the king side. Yes, this is again an example of rook lift we discussed in the last game. Rook to second or third rank and then switching it to the king side. And then we have king h8, knight to e2. So this is a common structure wherein no pawns are exchanged. When if you are a regular Kings Indian players, they must know these structures. They must know these themes that you there's a possibility that no pawns on the board get exchanged, and you end up in an endgame with the pieces exchange. Of course, the bishop, at least one file needs to be open to get the bishops off the board. But that is a general opening themes or the opening patterns that you can see. And yes, this is what
Yes.
bishop takes g5 is what we were waiting for. And who has won? Kosto has won this game, but let's quickly check bishop takes g5. We have just reached an interesting position. And then bishop takes g5. I'm just looking
Yeah,
for that move. Yeah, let's quickly go to that bishop takes g5 move. A sacrifice on g5 by Kosto Chatterjee.
34.
Yes, bishop takes g5.
I think
Rook. Yes, 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 Meher.
uh, if if pawn takes and probably f3 and he gets the rook, f3 check probably is planning f3 if black takes back the
f6.
bishop. F6, sorry, f6.
Yeah, yes. So rook h2, pawn takes,
These
queen
guys
takes,
king,
Queen
king
takes.
f8.
queen h6 check, king goes to e8, and now the pawns will be rolling very fast. Knight f8, bishop h5 check, king moves, and bishop to f7. Look at that bishop now placed on f7. Actually, that
The rook
bishop
is
was
kind,
all.
yeah, the rook is trapped.
Yes. Yeah, it is supported, but white black will lose the exchange for the bishop. Knight has to capture back the
No,
g8,
sir,
and
you are seeing a queen, yeah, queen f8.
queen f8 is also possible. So, but this bishop was actually just screaming out from long time to get itself out. You can see all the pawns are in white squares, light squares here. So this bishop was really not so good piece. But right now, after coming to h5 and f7, it has suddenly become a very good piece. So knight takes f5 was played interesting. Another sacrifice from black side to survive. And yes, the f7 is now hanging. Queen takes f7 is possible. So
No,
very
after
good
queen
sac.
f6 check, I think black is completely
Queen
lost.
f6,
Yes, white is winning now.
queen
Bishop
e7.
takes. Yeah, so this sacrifice did not work.
Ah,
gf6 and
definitely a win.
yep. So these pawns are actually so here. I think black resigned here. Okay, let's look at the position why he resigned. In the first place, this knight has got no square. This knight can come to d4, right?
d4, but still I think white is a rook up. I think exchange up. Sorry.
So knight
Ex-
d4, rook h8.
right. Knight d4, just rook h8. So let's try playing this knight d4, rook h8, and king e8.
No, not f2 right now. Let's just wait.
b3 is hanging here. After b3 falls, c4 is hanging. Probably
But
bishop
white is clearly
e6. Bishop e6 is also not playable.
Knight c1.
Knight c1 is probably forced to save the pawn on b3.
So can you
Depends.
just go back a bit, like
After this,
king e8,
we
king
can go
e8,
to
king
c6.
e8. Just go to king e8. So just like yeah, king e8, king e8. No, no, yeah. I'll try for f2 right now.
f7, you mean?
So
f7.
not f2, f7, f7
King
right.
e7 is probably.
King e7.
Yeah, and then
Black has some chances to defend, and then bishop will come back to.
I think
Uh,
knight c1 then bishop e6 will be a good plan for white.
hmm. Yeah, so instead of f7, I think the other option that we played of rook h8, rook h8 also, let's just keep it back and let's try to think what else can be played here actually. Can we just take our king? Can we do a king walk? Not here, but here and here. Can we just do a king walk? I don't see any entry for this black king to come and disturb the white king. Can probably, I think that would help after saving the b3, of course. Uh, no need. Okay, b3 has to be saved because c4 is hanging again. Yeah, that could be a possible plan. Simple plan, just to put your king on g7 and use your, or just rook h8. I think, but king goes to e8 and everything is defended. So yeah, yes, white has advantage, but probably black
Yeah,
resigned
but
because of
I
the
would
time.
have gone with rook h8 only. Like,
Okay.
let's just try for rook h8 once
Or maybe
again.
knight c1, then we can march a king to the
Hmm.
After
uh,
king e8, then bishop e, yeah, then bishop e6 I can play. Yeah.
Bishop e6. I need not exchange capture the bishop if I just capture the pawn.
If you play, then sir, you, yeah, and then knight e5,
Knight takes e5. Okay.
f
Pawn take
e5, and then we are winning d6. Complete.
d6. Yeah, d6 is winning. Yeah, right. Yep. So this sacrifice is very nice. Knight takes e5. Yeah. So good game. Coming to a very nice end. We learned a lot from this game. Let's go back to the tournament, guys, and check
Maybe the
the
next one is started. No.
round six is now started. Round six, and which game should we pick up?
Let's just see the top game between Arjun and Srijit.
Yeah, I think Dipanjan is now uh, dethroned for now from the first position. Okay, a
Oh,
bird's
bird.
opening. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
now let me tell you a very interesting story. Srijit is a Dutch player from Black.
oh, okay. So hence he's adopting a mirror image of bird's opening from white side.
Exactly.
Okay, that's a nice story, and nice actually the logical way of playing as well. If you like Dutch, you can play a bird's opening. So knight. So he seems to be very much
FC9.
too high of a positional player. He must be because you get locked positions in
Exactly.
mon
Srijit is a positional player.
g3, g6, bishop g2.
Oh, that's a Dutch variation, in fact.
Yeah,
Because white
castles.
plays with e4 and again
Yeah,
g3.
castles. D3 and then c5. Then we have queen e1. This is something I
That's
think
an interesting move.
we planning e4.
preparing for the e4. Yes, knight c6, e4, pawn takes. I think queen knight to d4 is now playable. So this position I generally like to put the knight on d4 in such positions. Okay, just there's a slight chance in bullet games that if knight exchanges, then we do have. But yeah, the e4 pawn is well supported. Yeah, so that's okay. E5 is something which is interesting. I would have not thought of playing e5 in this position. The reason is that I don't like giving much of the open files to this rook on f file. If takes e5, actually if takes e5 is not possible now possible, but white played knight c3 here. So knight c3 and then rook e8 supporting the e pawn. f5. Yeah, this is what I actually don't like from white side when the f5 comes on and then white gets all the space he wants on the king side with bishop g5, knight g5, and all the sacrifices coming over there. So it's better just to keep the pawn back and at the right moment use that pawn to just push to e6 and challenge the f5 pawn or likewise. So knight d4, taking the outpost, pawn takes pawn, and queen f2. After queen f2, knight goes to g4, queen d2. Queen d2, guys. What do you think of this move? Is
You
it
block
like getting yourself tied down?
the bishop
Lock.
is blocked on c1,
Yeah,
and black can move for bishop h6 also, putting
right.
more pressure on the queen.
Yeah. So this queen d2 is something that should make you uncomfortable from. white side. But I think there was no other square left as well for the queen to go. Let's
Yeah.
just keep this queen back and think about any square that is left. E3 is not possible, E2 is not possible, E1 is not
Even
possible
they
because
also
of
that
knight
that was
C2.
only square left.
Yeah, so the only square remaining is queen D2. So nice way to play from black side, getting the both the knights. Look at these beautiful knights on G4 and D4. They are putting so much pressure on this position, and this is how your knight should be placed actually when you're playing. They should be at the better squares. Look, this is D4 is an outpost right now. Okay, it's a beautiful outpost. Knight cannot
Knight at
capture.
d4 is very strong.
Yes, yes. So queen d2 was played in the game and then followed by bishop e6. Now the c4 square I think is what black is looking after. Bishop c4 and try to attack on this f1 square probably. Might be a possibility. Let's just check what happened. So knight d5 was played. Bishop
Is
takes
he giving
d5.
up a pawn?
No, he cannot give up the pawn. I think c3 is coming, right? If queen takes d5, then
Okay.
is c3 available? No, c3 is not available because of knight f3 check.
Right, check. Yeah.
But bishop takes f3 is there, so I think he could have captured the pawn, but then there is a threat of always there is a threat of this discovered attack. Knight takes d4. No, knight takes d4 is not possible. So in case of queen takes d5 here, can we play knight g5?
We can play knight into d4 probably. Knight takes d4.
Queen takes d4 will be played then, and a check to the
And then
queen.
you can exchange the queens, and probably white will be much better than what it was. Like I think white will come in a better position than what it is at right now.
I think queen d5, knight g5 is better because after knight g5, then we have this queen attacking the bishop attacking the queen here on d5 and also attacking the b7 pawn later on. And if queen goes back in the d file, then c3 becomes effective. Okay, so what I'm saying is queen takes d5 first move, then knight g5 attacking the queen with the bishop, and if queen moves back in the d
So
file, then c3 is
probably black will only have the option of e4, e4.
pawn to e4. Yes, right. Yeah, that could be an option. Okay, so interesting position, guys. It's a draw by repetition, but let's just check what happened in the game. So, queen d2, and after queen d2, black played bishop e6, knight d5, bishop takes d5, e takes d5, e4, putting the pressure on that f3 knight. Knight takes d4 is now possible, but bishop will hop on to d4 and control the critical squares, or even the c takes d4 is very much likely to be played. C takes d4 is also possible, guys. Do you think?
C takes d4 is also playable. I think bishop looks like a better
Hmm. Because of knight f2, f2 threat is possible in the and e3 is also coming very fast.
e3 also
So the
coming.
thing is that bishop d4 gives you a tempo, gives black a tempo of check.
After c d4, white can probably just move the queen and free his bishop.
Right, right. So he's getting a lot of moves. He gets some space to
He can
move his
probably take
queen.
queen e2 and attack the knight.
Yes. So bishop d4. Right. So bishop d4. Sorry, I clicked again the variation name. I am going back to the game. So bishop d4 is something that will take away the tempo from white. It won't give him the tempo to free up his queen. So bishop d4, king h1, and now knight f2 check right away. Interesting. So black is giving away the minor piece combination. I think e3 was better here. What do you think, guys? Should black have played e3?
There are many moves. Bishop could have come to e3, knight could have come to e3, pawn could have come to e3.
But knight e3 and bishop, yeah, knight e3 is a good move. Bishop e3, sorry, yeah, bishop e3 I think will
Bishop
allow.
e3, yeah, the bishop can capture the bishop next move after moving the queen.
Yeah, but that will neutralize your
White bishop,
attack, right?
the white
Black.
bishop gets the advantage.
Yeah, yeah. So bishop e3 probably is not the best. Probably e3 or knight e3 could have been
See,
tried. Yeah, so e3 is a difficult move to right away say that it is better. But yeah, we can just. So in the game, knight f2 was
Yeah,
played. Knight.
definitely black is better. Definitely black is better.
Hmm. Uh,
E3, knight, E3, yeah, definitely.
yeah, e3 any move. Anyways, so
Anyway, let's just yeah.
Hmm. C3, and now I think there could be
And
knight
then they
h3.
repeat.
Yeah, then there was a repetition. So here black had to invest something, probably e3. Let's just try e3. Okay, first let's try e3 first, and it says it is okay for white.
Okay. Anyways, let's just go. It was more or less equal only, I think.
Yeah, queen d5 also. Yeah, it was an
Yeah.
equal game. Yep.
Let's
Let's go
just
back to the
yeah.
tournament and check the next game. Round 7 has
Let
begun, guys. So which one would you like to pick up from round 7?
You can check the game
no,
between the
this
54
was round seven.
This is
This
round
was
7. Okay. So round 8, probably round 7. Okay. So which
yeah.
game would you like to pick up now?
You can pick the 2600 versus 2500 top board. I think that will
Okay.
be a good game.
Okay. So okay, it has just begun. So nice. E4, D6, Perk defense, modern defense system.
D4 bishop G7.
Guys, give me a moment. I'm just checking the questions in the comments section. So meanwhile, Arhan, would you like the players once again, if we have not
Yes,
done
sir,
that before?
definitely. Niraj Shah, as I said, is an international master from West Bengal. He's a very talented player. He has a 2300 plus FIDE rating, and Arjun Kalyan, he's also an international master with a live rating of 2477. He's nearing the GM title, it seems. He got his international master norms in Barcelona, in Spain in 2017 and 18.
Right, that's nice here. That's very good. Okay, so just coming back to the game, this is a typical setup of your modern defense. And what do you think about modern defense, guys? Arhan, what are your views on modern defense?
This would be an interesting game.
About the modern defense, so this defense actually it's more of like you can convert it into a Sicilian dragon later on as per your choice, or you
And
can
also
convert.
Perk and Modern are very similar openings.
Yes, yes. So they are intermingled, you can say. They are like brothers and sisters, or the siblings of a same family.
Siblings, exactly.
Yeah. So just to let all the viewers know here that modern defense or the PUBG defense is something which is I actually like. I like those of both of these because it gives you flexibility of
If black plays c5 straight away right
yes,
now,
yes. C5 is something that you have to play against this structure.
because white is trying to
This
launch an attack on the black king side.
Yeah, that's what the pattern is. If you look at the pawn structures, if you look at this central pawn structure, e6, d5, e5, d4, this is a common French defense pawn structure. If you have seen French
Exactly, the
defenses,
advanced variation. But the
yes,
only difference is queen is not on b6 and knight is not on c6.
right. So piece placement is a bit different, but the concept will remain same that
Same,
black ha
exactly.
black has to play on the queen side much of the times, and white has to
And so
concentrate on the king
when you
side.
just pointed out the French defense, we look the bishop generally the white square bishop in the French from black side is not developed anytime soon in the game. So here also we can see the same situation.
If white plays bishop c2, both bishops will be very well placed and for an attack on the king side.
Yes, just to add, guys, to both of your comments, first point
Even
that
knight
Arhan.
can also.
Yeah, so Arhan said that bishop b7, yes, this bishop is most of the time stuck on its original square, and it takes some efforts from black to get it working. That's right, and that's what we can see here. And what Mihir you're saying is putting the bishop on c2. Yes, that's what white actually does in the game. He puts this bishop on this b1 h7 diagonal, and then h4 h5 moves are most likely to be seen. To nullify this bishop, black generally puts his knight on f5, and even if there is a double pawn here on f7 and f5, he is okay with that. Okay, because this bishop becomes ineffective because of this f5 pawn.
So right now, I think knight f5 is playable.
Yeah. So all I can see some comments suggesting the moves like bishop f7. So all the viewers out there, when we are doing the commentary and when you are actually listening to the commentary and seeing the game, there is a difference of about 15 seconds in that time frame of actual delay on the broadcast. So you might feel that what you are suggesting, bishop f7, we are not considering it, but it's not that way. All the viewers just try to understand there is a time difference when you are doing a broadcast of 15 to 20 seconds or slightly more sometimes depending upon the internet connection. So whenever we see your message, the commentary and that part is already done from the chessboard. So more of it's like we are interested in your questions, okay, about the openings, about the tactics, about the
So why the
theories.
sacrifice the knight? Why the sacrifice the knight on f6?
Yes, let me come back to the commentary. And g5 was played here, and white has played knight takes g5. Interesting sacrifice here. H takes g5, bishop takes g5, queen f8, and now how will white continue here? H6 is probably a threat, but that is hanging right now. Rook has to join the party if white wants to win here. Rook on h8 is making a huge difference. Yes, rook probably is. It's the rook that white will try to bring up now.
Can black has played bishop h6? I was coming to that, if bishop h6 is playable or not.
F4. I think F4 should be played now, or bishop C1. Okay. F4 I was suggesting because if in case of exchange you get a good two pawns here as passers, one of the pawns is a passer, they will remain connected.
Now
Yeah.
sorry, f4 he was not played. I think he cut the bishop.
Hmm, hmm, hmm. So
I
rook.
sir, I wanted to play rook f1 and then f4.
Okay. Okay.
Right, this black is trying for the pin on b3 with the knight. A fork.
4 con B3. Yeah.
So
This move.
don't you think rook f1, f4, f5 would have been a good option?
Yeah. Let's go back a move here. This was the position, guys, and here my first concern was here actually white played bishop to b1, but instead of bishop to b1, my first concern was I should not lose the space on king side. Hence, I was suggesting f4 first, and then if exchange is possible, because you don't know, right, Arhan, that if this pawn
Yes.
will be exchanged. If the pawn is not exchanged, then this rook will remain on f1 in the closed file if the bishop is not exchanged. Okay, but so you rook f1 can be delayed also. If the f file opens, put your rook in f1. If f file doesn't open, keep your rook on e1, which can then go to e3 and join on the attack on f3 and g3. Okay, so rook f1 playing prematurely, I think we can delay that. Rook f1, first play f4. If exchange, try to keep your space on the king side, and then play rook e3 or rook, uh, get the rook out in the game. Right. So let's just check what happened here. So bishop b1 was played, queen to g7, bishop h6, queen h6, and rook e3, knight to a5, trying to get on b3 and give a nice fork to the queen and rook. Bishop a2 was played, defending the b3 square. King f8, probably now king will go to e7, and this rook will join the black camp on g file. So b4, while trying to create something on the queen side, but I think black should be able to handle the queen side because there are a lot of minor pieces there. Yeah, I think now to develop that bishop, a6, a5, and bishop e6 will be played soon. a5, queen c1, king e7. The bishop was hanging here just so to support the bishop. White black played king e7 to support the bishop with the rook, and then queen c7, queen goes to f8, rook goes to f3. Now this is something which is interesting. This is again an example of rook lift, guys. Those all viewers who are beginners and intermediate, this is how you have to activate your rook. And now f7 is under pressure. Okay, not straight away, but yes, we have a good pressure on f7. Queen d8, queen e3 check, queen d6 check, sorry, not e3 check. King goes to e8, bishop g6, another sacrifice. Look at here, guys. f7 was hanging, so white just decided to put a bishop on g6. Black is under time pressure. Pawn takes, Queen takes e6 check first. Queen e7. Queen takes g6 check. King d8. And now rook f7.
Wow, amazing
Que-
play.
Queen e8. e6. Look at this beautiful play in absolute time pressure. King goes to d7, c7. Pawn takes. Bishop takes, and I think queen d6 check. Right? Queen d5, queen e1 check. This will give a new angle to the game. So white won the game, guys. Let's go back to the queen e1 check and check what happened actually in the game. So queen e1 check, king c7, and then bishop takes d7. Yes, sir. Okay. Queen d6 check, king c8, queen d5, queen e1 check, king h2, rook h4 check. King goes to g3, queen c3 check, f3, rook takes f5. And I think this is
Wow,
Yeah,
the,
queen
that
e1
was
again
amazing.
possible. Queen back comes back to e1.
yeah, queen e1 check should have been played. I think here. Hmm.
Because when you see queen e1, it's actually either black's better or black can easily draw the game. But then rook f5 actually loses.
Yeah, black. I think because queen takes d7 is mating over there. Queen takes d7. Threat now is just to play queen d7 and get a mate on b7 square. That is a threat now. So
Yeah,
probably that was
maybe black just got in time pressure.
yes.
Maybe.
So let's check if what would have happened if queen e1 check was
Yeah,
given.
Yeah,
I think
definitely. Queen e1 is the right.
then queen h4 is also coming. If black plays king g4, then queen h4 is mate. Then a large hope black would have
King
taken a
f4 should have been played here.
black would have taken a chance that if white plays king h4, then he can mate on h4.
So knight is still attacking the h4 square, right? Mir.
Yeah.
Okay. King goes to f4, and now
So can now I think black can play rook into f5. I think that's the only possible move to avoid the queen into, or maybe queen can go back.
hmm. I'm just thinking from what is the best move for black now. Rook takes f5. Just a minute. What should you play?
Can black try for checks with the queen, continuous checks?
Yeah, queen d2.
Queen d2 check is there.
Repetition. I mean, yeah, definitely. Queen d2, king.
King g4 and queen can go to
No, no, no. Now to
queen
mate
and
is there.
g5.
Mate,
Queen
mate
and
is a
g5.
mate on g5. Yeah. So queen f4 check. I think knight e3 is probably playable here.
No, then again, rook h, mate in 10, rook h4.
Mate in 10 is given. Rook h4. Right. So, but mate in 10, I think in 2 seconds it will be
Two
difficult, or
seconds.
whatever the time was
Yeah.
left at that position. Yeah. But yeah. So knight, queen e3, knight f3, knight e3 is
I
not
think a
possible.
simple move after knight e3, queen d, even under time pressure, black can probably think queen d4, queen into d4 check. So the
No, but
queen,
sorry, guys. We are missing this move actually. We are just playing like beginners here.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so knight e3 is not possible because of rook takes d5. And so what should
probably
we play?
black was better
Yeah,
probably.
that's what I said. King g3 is the only move.
Right.
And then queen comes back to e1.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe king d e4 is also there.
So king g3, rook check, g5. No.
We are almost repeating it.
Yeah, right, right. So I
Yeah,
think queen e3 was this moves is better. Queen e1
that's
check
what I
and
said. Queen e1 was a better option.
yeah. So instead of that, actually, yeah, black played rook takes f5 and he paid the price of this check and mate. Queen d7, king b8, and
Right.
queen b7 mate.
Right.
Okay, so let's go back to
Anyway,
the
let's
tournament, guys. I think
go
it was a
back to the button.
good game again. So all the perk defense lovers and those who like to play against perk and modern defense, this is the game that you can refer. It is a beautiful game.
And avoid playing rook f5.
Right, exactly. Don't make blunders. Of course, this is expected in the time pressure, but try
Definitely.
to avoid as much as possible.
Round 8 has begun.
hmm So, which one would you like to pick up,
So we
Arhan?
can just go down a little bit. Let's just check the down. We
Let's
just
check the
go
settings.
down. Yeah, we can see the game
You
between
want to see
these
cost of
two
strategy
players.
play or Utsav? Let's see cost of strategy.
No cost. So let's see this game. Yeah, Utsav Chatterjee. Utsav is another IM.
Okay. So would you brief up about the players, Arhan?
This is right. I have
Utsav
this open.
Chatterjee is another IM from Calcutta.
Mm-hmm.
Sicilian defense. This is going to be a very wild game, I believe.
Yes, Mir. Let's have an introduction about the players, a bit of introduction. So, Arhan, Utsav is
Yeah,
an IM.
definitely. Utsav Chatterjee is another IM from Kolkata itself. He is a class 10 student from BD Memorial.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I don't know much about Umakanta.
Okay, no problem.
I
Let's
believe he's a
let's
good player from Assam.
Okay, Umakant. Okay, so let's check what happens. So E4, C5, and Knight F3, Knight C6, Bishop B5. This is called as Rossolimo attack. All the
Okay.
players who don't
I
like
think
playing
Magnus
against.
Carlsen is a very big fan of this opening.
Yes, yes. Yeah, we have seen Bishop B5 in some of
Yeah,
the
we've
Magnus's
seen
recent
we've
games.
seen Magnus versus Caruana. I think many games were played in this line.
Okay, that's a good reference. So all the players who want to learn about Rossolimo defense or Rossolimo attack, you can look at Magnus Carlsen's games, recent games. I think here, right? Not long back. Recent games he has
Yeah,
played
there was
against.
championship. The
Yeah.
12 classical matches, most of them I think were Rossolimo.
Okay. Who was the opponent? Magnus's opponent?
Magnus versus Caruana, the World Championship.
Fabiana. Oh, that's last year. You mean?
Yes.
Okay. So
Right now, the
so
candidates is going on to decide the next challenger. It has
yes.
been
Yeah.
postponed due to the
Right.
coronavirus outbreak.
Right. Knight takes, pawn takes. ND4 is again an interesting option,
I
guys.
don't
There is
like this. I don't like this opening too much because I think Black is just wasting a move here.
yes. This actually just I'm going back around 13 years back. I think in around 2002 or 2003, this line was something that became a popular knight d4. People were playing this knight d4 line against Italian game also. That is e4, e5, knight f3, knight
Yes, I
c6,
think there's
bishop
a
c4,
famous
and d4.
game
Yeah,
by
there's a
Bobby Fischer, that 8 move mate. It's a very
yes.
taught to all children.
I think it's called as Italian trap, if I'm not wrong, or
Yes,
if I'm not wrong. And it's a smothered mate on f3 with a knight. That's a beautiful game.
yes, that's a very beautiful game. Very
Yeah,
beautiful.
just giving a brief of history that this was popular long back in about 2002 or 3, and we could see a lot of theory being developed. A lot of players were prepared for this knight d4 move theoretically, and it's not just wasting a move. Even after wasting, you can get some good positions if white doesn't continue in the perfect way. So
Exactly, and sir, many players who want to avoid playing knight f3 and d4, they also go with knight c3, the closed variation.
yes, form Sicilian. Yep, knight c3 and then f4 playing the Grand Prix attack.
Grand Prix, yeah.
Yeah, castles, rook d1, d5, e5. Now again, this is the similar
Another move.
structure that we saw in the last game.
Or he
Uh,
just getting a pawn d5 after d5. I think is he just winning a pawn?
yeah, let's check that once.
I think he's just sacrificed the pawn. I think the pawn is takeable.
ed5, ed5, yeah,
Yeah,
he's actually sacrificing a
White
pawn.
has four attacks on the d5 square.
Right.
Why why did he go for d5?
But so guys, you are missing one point. So ed5, if so knight d5 is forced there. If in case of bishop d5, the bishop d5 is not good because of bishop g4 is coming, and then there will be a skewer here.
Yes, after knight if bishop d4 then you have the knight into bishop check. It comes with a
Mm,
check. So
mm, yeah.
I think probably white missed it.
There could be a possibility, or this variation might be studied, and in long term there might be, or probably white must be liking the e5 move here more, instead of exchanging, because then all the pieces go into a shell. Now you can see this knight and this bishop, this going into a shell, which is
Just to add a few information, like it was my mistake. Utsav P is actually I am Sumak Palit, not Utsab. Their usernames were a little bit of similar.
okay. What is the
That
name
was a
of the
mistake on.
player?
So
Just for
Utsav P is actually I am Sumak Palit from Kolkata itself. He's an experienced player. He has been playing competitive chess for the past 25 years, and he's a coach also
oh,
of
that's
chess.
nice, from Kolkata itself.
Yeah, from Kolkata itself.
That's nice. So okay,
I apologize to the viewers. It was a small part, a mistake on our part.
no problem. So then bishop c2 was played here. That's the right way to play. Just line up your bishops against this weak king. Now there are no
Yeah, the both
defenders.
the bishops are very
Yeah,
the bishops are very beautifully placed.
yes. So rook e8, queen h3, attacking the h7 pawn, knight f8. This is again a very defensive move and very good move actually, because this defender can never be eliminated. Whenever you want to defend your h7 pawn and you have to be careless, just put your knight on f8 and forget about this all the attack over here. This is just simplest way to play when you're playing against this type of attack. When you're black here, just put your knight here and forget about this position. Go for your attack on the queen side. Take your own time. No one can destroy your castle with this knight on f8. So rook d3, again an example of rook lift. Queen goes to b6, starting his attack on the queen side. Queen g4. Now rook will join the party either on g3 or g4, h3. Okay, so
H3. Yeah.
yeah, queen f4. I think f7 is now the weak link here. f7 pawn. So rook goes to h3
Now
now.
I
Bishop
think white
f8.
is just winning this if he attacks probably. I think rook into h7 is coming now after bishop h6. Rook into h7 followed by queen h5 or some h7 can be played now.
Yeah,
Rook h7
in
followed by queen h7 mate. Rook
But
f7.
Rook H7,
No, there is
yeah,
queen f7 coming. Yeah, okay. So I think this was a very well played game by Utsav. I think very smooth game.
Calypso.
rook h7 and then
If king h7, queen f7, just winning 2 points.
yeah, so rook
And
h7
then
probably.
g6 is also falling.
So here you are suggesting rook h7, right?
Rook h7, king h7, queen f7, and then g6 is falling, e8 is falling, and I think black is just finished.
Yes, exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, Rook H7 is actually a very good move.
Rook h7. I think this is winning actually. Rook h7, king h7, queen f7.
H7.
Now e8 is falling, g6 is falling, everything is weak.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so rook h7 probably was missed, and I think white played queen h4 there. Okay, and then white
But Queen
won.
H4 is not bad also.
Yeah, but this was a straight away win, right? Rook h7. It was a straightforward win here.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. So, but in Blitz, I mean, there are a lot
Yeah,
of, I mean, it's
right.
difficult to play accurate moves all the time.
Right. Let's go back to tournament, guys, and check the next games. So, whose game would we like to pick up next?
So let's just go down a bit. Let's just look at the games from the bottom right now.
Okay,
Let's
We
see
can
so
go a
nice
little bit of up.
bottom series.
Yeah, we can check this game between this one. Anish, yeah, this one. The Srijit Paul Rajdeep. Maybe this will be an interesting game.
okay,
It's
okay.
another game.
So, background of these
I'll just
players. Yeah,
introduce the players quickly.
yeah.
Rajdeep Sarkar is an international master from Calcutta itself. He got his nom in Spain, and Srijit is like, as I said, he's another international master from Calcutta itself. They both are students. Rajdeep has just passed out this year, and Srijit is in 12.
Oh, that's nice. Srijit Paul is in 12th. That's a very good achievement at this young age. So he has a very bright future. He has a lot of time yet to be yet for to build up his career, and almost I think, and young minds are very good actually. Young minds, if you learn chess, if you try to practice more and try to learn more, you are getting more benefits of it, because as you grow, as you get more pressure from financially, from your study point of view, you start losing that spark that you have in you. You are more focused on your
Exactly,
academics.
and definitely, and Rajdeep and Srijit are actually rivals. Like they have been playing each other since a long time.
Oh.
Be it Telegraph or a local rapid tournament or here or in online, they've played each other like a lot of time.
Okay, good to see them on the online platform as well. So this is the Italian game, guys, with a G6 line. Okay, G6. I am not much versed with G6 line. If you have any information, you can share, Arhan and Mihir.
Yes, I want to add something. So Rajdeep is a bit of a positional player, and he plays certain times like he plays certain unorthodox moves. Moves, yeah, exactly, which is not a common practice.
Okay. So queen e7 here. Again, that's an that's not a common move. Queen e7. Castles. Bishop g7. Rook e1. Knight f6. Knight d2. Castles, and I think white won this game. Shrojit Paul won the game, but let's quickly